Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mike Colleen at MikeColleen.com, and today we're going to talk about the narcissist brain. We're going to talk about the lower reptilian brain, which we're all born with. We all use in the imprinting stages, so the first few years to about 6.5 years of our life. Alright, so I'm going to talk about something that happened to me, something I learned in psychology class in college. So I learned something about our brain and how it works and what happens when we're little children, and it brought up a memory for me that really stood out. Alright, so let's get this going. So I came home and it was about how our brain, how when we're little babies, how we view things, because our brain has not quite developed. And here's basically what it is. When children, infants, when we're first born, and I don't remember how long this lasts, whether it was a couple weeks or a couple months, but what happens is we view everyone as one. In fact, this might go as long as up to 9 months, I think it is. So we view everyone as us, as one. In other words, there's not me, you, my mom, my dad, my brother, and my sister. It's like, no. The way the teacher explained it was that, like, sure, your mom's holding you, but that's like an arm. You know, so you got a left arm, right arm, and then there's this other body part of mine. And then your dad's standing over there on the other side of the bed or the room. Well, that's another body part of mine. They see everything and experience everything as one. So it sounds very much like these spiritual teachings that we all need to get back to this sense of oneness. Now that's a completely another story. I don't think I'm going to add that today. So here's the deal. One of the things they talked about in the same day was how when a mother's holding a baby, its eyes are basically designed to view things clearly between, I think it was like 8 and 10 inches or 12 inches or something like that. Maybe it was 12 and 15. So you can look into your mother's eyes and bond with your mother when you're breastfeeding. Now watch this. So I came home, and my sister, my mom, I forget who else was there. There was another person. Might have been my brother's girlfriend or her sister's sister. His girlfriend's sister, I mean. So we're at the dining table, dinner table, etc. And I was talking about when I came home from the hospital when I was a little baby. I know a lot of people are like, wait, what? So watch this. Alright, so I have a very unique and very powerful memory. It's like a video camera, video recorder, and audio. So here's what happened. So back then, I believe it was you stayed in the hospital for 3 days with your baby, and then you came home. So it was the third day, and I was saying, I was just telling my mom and whoever was at the table at the time, like, yeah, it was a beautiful sunny day. I remember the grass you could smell it because it was freshly mowed. And then when Dad came around and picked me up to carry me, and he was walking me up the walkway, our dog, it was a puppy that was born, I think it was the same week that I was born, or maybe it was the same month. Either way, it came running up and started jumping up and down, and I remember that. And my mom stops and goes, wait a minute, you remember Dad picking you up? I go, yeah. I remember everything. I remember everything. And that's the thing that kind of shocked a lot of people. Like, I remember everything. Now, some people's, okay, let me kind of do a side note. Some people may not remember things because of childhood trauma, like usually sexual trauma, molestation, rape, etc. Like my sister can't remember anything before the age of, I think it was 5 or 6. In fact, she said it, she goes, are you joking? I'm like, no. In fact, I don't think she could even remember kindergarten, which I remember vividly everything, okay? Especially kindergarten, preschool, all that stuff. So back to this. So what happened was my dad was walking us up, and we had this cement pad lifted up just one step. And I don't know, it was like stood out about 3 or 4 feet from the door, and it was about 5 or 6 feet wide or 4 feet wide or whatever. But you had to step up on it. And when I remember looking up at the frame of the door, and as we got closer and closer, I was like, holy shit, it's like I was going to smash my head against it. And boop, next thing you know, I was inside the house. And I remember looking back and being like, how come that didn't hit my head? So So what I'm trying to point out by this is when we are infants, we do not visually, it's not only visually, but it's also on a, I don't know how to say it. It's like psychologically, we don't view other people or even things as separate from us at all. Like, this is me. Okay? So this is how a narcissist views you. So here's the deal. The narcissist views everything as, that's mine. It's like this is their world. They are God. Now here's what I'm trying to get you to understand. That just like, you know, when you're a baby and you're born, you're like, oh, food, oh, ice cream, oh, this, oh, that. It's just like everything it's like the world. There's no thought of, oh, what about my sister's feelings? There is no sister. That's just a pawn for me to get ice cream. Or, do you know what I mean? Like, these are tools, or these are items, these are objects in the world. You are not viewed as a human being. You're not a person. There is no other person other than them. And when you're not catering to them, complimenting them, they're looking at you like what's wrong with this robot? What, like, is it broken? Does it need to be reprogrammed? You're an object. You're a thing. Now, I don't mean that like, oh, they're just these arrogant bastards. What I mean is, just like a little infant that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 days old, they don't understand what is sister, what is brother, what is dog. They don't, you know, they stab the dog with a knife. They don't, you know, they don't understand that they're hurting the dog. It's like they don't even care. It's like their brain hasn't developed to that level of having the ability to distinguish. So sure, you know, one day the mom's gonna say no, and maybe even smack them on the back of the hand, and maybe the dog will, like, they're hitting the dog, and the dog turns on and bites them, like, whoa, like, that hurts, ow, that's not cool. And then they go to preschool or play with other infants, and the other infants like smacks them upside the head, say, hey, you can't do that. So it's like the rest of us realize, like, oh, that's not nice to do to people. They don't they don't view it as, oh, that's not nice to do to people. It's almost like, that's weird. When I touch this robot and stab them with this knife, they turn around and bite me. That's not cool. I got to get that robot to stop doing that. Okay? Or when I see this other being that looks like me and I smack it, it smacks me back. How am I going to figure my way around this? Because that's not the way that robot's supposed to be programmed. This is why they look at you like you're supposed to be programmed, like this is the way you're supposed to be. So this is why narcissists will hunt out certain types of people, because this is where their brain is at. It's literally like a little infant who has never truly learned and understood what the hell's going on. And this is why narcissists are dumbasses. Okay? So here's what needs to happen. So in my last video, you know, so the new thing with narcissists are they're telling us that we need to be compassionate and understanding towards them, okay? And to just understand, well, and this is what they're literally saying, well, you know, well, they can't help it. They were just born this way. No, here's what happened. They're spoiled, rotten brats. They're spoiled, rotten babies. They were never demanded to grow up on any level. Mommy or daddy just catered towards them and agreed with them. It was the bad teacher. It was the bad kid, the bad student. Not realizing this little child who's 6 months old, a year and a half old. Remember, our imprinting stage goes all the way up until we're about 6 years old. Not realizing by you doing that, this kid is never going to individuate and realize, like, oh, those are separate beings. Those are people just like me. Okay? So now that narcissists are saying, oh, you need to be loving and compassionate, or compassionate and understanding towards, you know, the way we are, all that's going to do is continue that. What society needs to do is literally smack them upside the head again and again, each and every single time, call them on their shit, because here's what it's going to force them to do. Narcissists are generally stuck in their reptilian brain, communicating through their logical left brain, okay? When you force them, they will eventually open up their right brain and go, wait a minute, something's not right here. I've got to figure this out. And that's a right brain function. Narcissists were never demanded to develop this side of their brain because they were coddled, they were babied, they were catered to, and on and on. You know, they were spoiled, and because of that, they never fully developed, which means they never entered their right brain and learned how to use that brain, because that's the brain that puts the pieces of the puzzle together so they can see the bigger picture. So society does not need to coddle narcissists. Society needs to hold them accountable each and every freaking time, because what it will eventually do is it will force them to pop open to view things from the other side of the brain and go, oh, okay. So it forces them to develop at a higher level. So what have narcissists done? They've surrounded themselves with empaths and kind and catering people that cater to every whim, which allows them to live in this world of, well, I can poison you, I can manipulate you, I can lie to you, I can get you fired, I can talk behind your back and get people to turn on you, and all this horrible stuff. If you don't give me what I want, I'm going to hurt you bad, which is just like a spoiled baby brat. Hey, this is Mike Colleen at MikeColleen.com. I'll see you in the next video.